Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I spent a wonderful late afternoon and evening yesterday helping get all the orchids ready for shipping off to Malvern. Well, they'll be on their way now. In fact, they'll be halfway there by now. People were getting up at like 5 in the morning. I must admit, I thought they were going up late today, ready for setup tomorrow, but they ended up with an awful lot of plants. The emergency requests seemed to work well. You know, plants came out of the woodwork, so I think they're happy with the number of plants they've got, and in amongst them there's some absolutely stunning stuff. Puts some of mine to shame, but they all make up a display. It's not really about the individual plants. It's about the display. You know, the concept. You know, the format. The way the plants are placed, the colour combinations. There's so many things go into judging an actual display. Although the individual plants are important, it's the overall effect that's being judged. Yeah, but it was a good evening, helping with the plants. I mean, I helped identify some. For some reason, they seem to think I'm an Oncidium expert. I'm not really. What's happened over the years is I've bought in quite a few, and a lot of them were the store-bought, mass-produced sort. So, you know, I know what they are. And a lot of people have bought similar plants that just had a tag that said Orchid on it. So they've got no ID for it. But because I sort of either got one now or had one in the past, I know what they are. So that was quite useful. Just because I identified half a dozen plants doesn't mean I'm an Oncidium expert. I mean, there's quite a few of the show committee have specialised. I mean, one of the guys grows terrestrial orchids. That's what he grows. Got smashing collection of Deesas, and some of our native hardy orchids, and some from European countries, but that's what he grows. So obviously he doesn't own any Oncidium types. And another guy specialises in miniatures, you know, the true miniatures. You know, some very odd species in amongst his collection, most of which I can't even pronounce, and certainly haven't heard of them. Yeah, so, you know, people grow different orchids in different ways, and some of those people have been growing, like, you know, 40, 50 years, so they've had plenty of time to specialise and build up specialised collections. But it was good fun, lots of fun, larking around, telling jokes, getting the plants ready while doing it. I mean, one guy shouldn't have been there, really, he wasn't well. But nonetheless, the effort's put in. And it did dawn on me the effort that goes into it. And the expense is ridiculous. I mean, these guys, the show committee, and certainly in one case, maybe two cases, other halves as well, you know, they're off for 5 days. That's 5 days accommodation, sort of food, the transport, and... you know, I mean, all the plants were top dressed with bark. That has to be bought in, and they do it all at their own expense. I mean, yes, they treat it as a holiday, but it's like an enforced holiday. You know, if they didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Bournemouth Orchid Society display. It's the same with all the other orchid societies. They're all doing it off their own back. The society doesn't pay for it, you know. And I thought... there is a rumour that this may be the last international orchid show to be held at Malvern. It's only a rumour at the moment, but the organiser is incredibly worried about Brexit and its consequences, because there's quite a lot of traders are coming from other countries. Now, the non-EU countries that come to Malvern, nothing will change for them. So they'll be okay. And in some cases, they may be rubbing their hands, because if the European, the EU traders decide not to come because of all the paperwork that's involved and the massive increase in expense for transporting their orchids across that silly little piece of water called the English Channel, if they decide not to come, those traders that do come get all the trade. But... if there aren't enough traders to come in and fill the place up, the show won't be viable anymore. So there is a rumour, nothing more than that, because people are all panicking about what's going to happen when nobody really knows yet. So there's a rumour this may be the last one, and if not this one, then the next one may be the final one. But that's to be decided. But I decided that next year I'm going to join them. It's a very expensive 5 days. For me, that's too much money to justify. That's why I just go for the day. But next year, YouTube money can pay for it. So I won't have to. And I'd love to be there for the whole thing. Because it is, you know, it's not just the amount of time you get to look around the place properly, not just the orchid marquee. It's a country show. There's so much to see there. You can't do it all in a day. It's not possible. I mean, there are some elements of it I don't particularly want to see. I don't want to go and see a load of cows and sheep and chickens, but you know, some people love all that. But I love watching the some of the arena displays, the birds of prey. I mean, that's absolutely superb, seeing, you know, large birds of prey being flown around free. Things like that, you know. There's lots of things I do like to see, which I often get, you know, I just don't get to see them because I spend all my time in the orchid marquee. Well, if you're only there for a day and you've gone there for orchids, that's the place to be, isn't it? But I was going to do a really short video entitled "What's Wrong with This Picture?" What's wrong with this picture? That shouldn't be here. That was supposed to go to Malvern, and I just completely forgot. And I'm annoyed now because the way the clusters are opening, you know, and there would be more each day. There are 2 or 3 more blooms opening, so each day it's looking better and better. But on the good side, I suppose, you know, given that nearly everything in bloom has gone off in a truck, it is actually nice to have something around that's still got blooms on. But yes, an idea for next year's Malvern. As far as this year's Malvern's concerned, I'm there on the Friday. It's a pre-arranged thing. It's not set in stone or anything like that, but it might be nice for any YouTubers to gather together at the Bournemouth Orchid Society stand, which should be pretty easy to find, at 1 o'clock. Yeah, so if you're there, let's have a gathering and all say hello to each other. Don't need to stay, you know, don't feel obliged or anything like that. It might be nice to just all sort of meet up at a set time and say hello, have an ice cream or something. Or a hot soup if it's chucking it down with rain. But you know what I mean, just to say hello and touch base. It's nice to meet people for real and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, as a consequence of there not being much left in bloom, the videos are going to be a bit thin on the ground, aren't they? I mean, obviously on Friday I'll be at the show and I'll be creating, you know, the material for doing videos, which I can then get sorted out over the weekend and get those posted. But obviously there won't be anything posted on Friday. It's Wednesday today. I'm going to do a bonsai update because I haven't filmed them for a while. It's a little bit of trimming to do, and you know, just a quick chat about each one and how they're doing. You know, effectively in their mid-season really. So they don't tend to need a lot of care this time of year. But I haven't done a bonsai vid for a long time, so I'll stick one of those in. Possibly film that today and post that tomorrow, which will then be. What will that be? That will be Thursday. So that will take me into Friday. So I should still be able to manage a video each day, except for Friday, obviously. I should be away all day. Very early start, and I won't be back till late. And then I've got to put all the pieces together. And I've been asked to do a separate video for the Bournemouth Orchid Society for their display only, and a separate one for the Wessex Orchid Society for their display only, so that they can get them up on their Facebook pages. And I'll also do a video of every single Orchid Society display, because I got I got ripped to shreds last year because I thought I'd filmed all the Orchid Societies, and there were some viewers that had some plants in the display for the particular Orchid Society, and I missed it. I missed one. And I got a bit of stick for that. Oh, I was looking forward to seeing how my plants have been used in the display and you didn't film it. And they felt a bit singled out, as though I deliberately... Oh, I didn't deliberately do it. I just probably got distracted with people coming up and saying hello and that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll make a point of filming every single Orchid Society display. For people who aren't members of Orchid Societies or can't get to shows or anything like that, it's quite good to see the variety of ideas that go into the displays, if you see what I mean. It's not just to see a plant stuck on a bench. You know, it's not that easy. You do that, you will get nothing. You need to put ideas in and thoughts and concepts and things. So it'd be nice to, you know, do a comparison of all of them. And obviously I'll you know, film the traders and things where they've got good stuff on display. So there should be quite a few videos come out of that one show as separate entities. So I'll see how I go. But yeah, it sort of annoyed me just forgetting that. And that's what comes of being rushed. You know, I did get a lot done yesterday. Yes, but as a consequence I just forgot. Dendrobium hibiki isn't going to get seen. Never mind, never mind. And looking at all the plants yesterday, the only colours like that were in the terrestrial orchids. None of the tropical orchids, the sort of things that most of us grow, had colours like that on it. So that would have been quite, you know, quite a different thing to have. Never mind, it's still here, and I'm certainly not chasing them up the road to take it. So that's it now. Too late. That's opened up nicely. I know the light's bad in here now, but yeah, that gives me a positive ID now for that one, so I can delete the other two in my notes, leaving the 4. I mean, this one, it won't have a name, I doubt, although it may be possible to find a name for it, but you know, Miltoniopsis hybrid, I'm happy with that at the moment. It does have another spike coming down there, so it's a second spike. The little one on the end pushing up the nice new growth was a present. That's a yellow one. Donald's bloom is fading a bit, but not too bad. Ow! And this one round here has also got a spike. That's pushing on now. You can tell I don't grow these particularly well because I tend to get 1 or 2 blooms on the spikes. When these are growing well and full of life and energy and in good conditions, you can get 5 or 6 blooms on a spike, not just 2. I seem to average 1 or 2 blooms per spike, which just tells me they're not in ideal conditions. It's as simple as that. They're just not in ideal conditions, and the reason is it's too warm for them, although it's not warm in here at the moment. It's only 19 degrees at the moment, but it is early in the day. I was asked, because somebody came around and had a look at the orchids a while back, why the hell I didn't bring this. Well, there's the reason I didn't bring it. Yes, it had 4 spikes on, but they opened in relatively quick succession. One spike's already over, this one's finishing now, which would leave 2. And they're the smaller spikes. So, and they, you know, they're not going to last till Sunday. They just won't, because they opened over a series of 4 or 5 days. You know, so these 2 have only got a couple of days to go now. That's how it is. Oh, I will show you one thing that I am really looking forward to. Those buds. That is a relatively small plant. That is its size, that's how it grows. It's a primary cross, but in it is infundibulum, which are absolutely gorgeous blooms. It's crossed with Lowii, I think, but it's primary cross, and those blooms are something pretty special. You can see they're already swelling up to a reasonable size, so that should be good. Coming soon, as they say. So yeah, just a quick chat this morning before I wake up properly and get going. And I was reminded by a viewer, oh, you didn't put the hibiki in then. Oh, literally was one of those, oh, hell's bells. I just genuinely forgot. And it's strange, I did actually look round. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, something that's not at eye level can just get missed. And it got missed, so I'll say, too late now. we'll see how we go. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I'm going to go round, I might leave it, I might actually include it tomorrow. I was going to go round and have a look at, a video on things to come, because there are an awful lot of spikes pushing up on plants, some of which certainly relatively new viewers won't have ever seen before because they haven't bloomed for a year, so there are some things to come. There are buds pushing out in places on various things. It's mainly in the Oncidium types, really, sort of coming up to their time now. But I'll see how I go, and I'll see you next time.